Jai Hind students, I am Mayank Kumar Dubey, lecturer S.I.C, Sipri, Bazar, Jhansi. Students, in the previous video, we transform sentences with the help of affirmative sentences, negative sentences, interrogative sentences, exclamatory sentences, parts of speech, and with the help of simple sentences, complex sentences, and compound sentences. Students, in this video, we shall transform sentences with the help of the remaining part of simple sentences, complex sentences, compound sentences, active voice and passive voice. Students, if you have deep knowledge about transformation, you can speak English easily. Besides it, you can also understand English news easily. Because we know that most of the headings of English newspaper are given in passive voice, such as example 1, 2 terrorists were killed by the police. Students, we have to remember one thing in our mind, that we always use the before police. Example 2, a meeting was held by the Honorable CM of UP.
B. By reducing an adjective clause. Example 1. Complex sentence. I could not help the man who was injured. Answer. Simple sentence. I could not help the injured man. Students, we shall have to remove conjunction who to make simple sentence, and we have done in this sentence. Example 2. Complex sentence. A student who is careless cannot get success. Answer. A careless student cannot get success. Students, in this example, we have done the same as we had done in the previous example. C. By reducing an adverb clause. Example 1. Complex sentence. I cannot read unless I wear glasses. Students, we shall have to remove unless to make simple sentence, and we shall use without in simple sentence. Answers. Simple sentence. I cannot read without glasses. Example 2. Complex sentence. Although he ran very fast, yet he could not reach the station in time. Students, here we shall have to remove although and yet to make simple sentence, and in simple sentence we shall have to add in spite of. Rule 3. To transform sentences from simple sentences into compound sentences. Example 1. Simple sentence. You must work hard to avoid punishment. Here, students, we shall have to remove to make compound sentence. Answer. Compound sentence. You must work hard, otherwise you will get punishment. Students, we have used otherwise to make compound sentence. We can also use or to make compound sentence. Example 2. He was rewarded for his sincerity. Answer. Compound sentence. He was sincere, so he was rewarded. Students, you can see here that we have removed from example number 2, and we have added so in the answer to make compound sentence. Rule 4. To transform sentences from compound sentences into simple sentences. Example 1. Compound sentence. You must do something or you will starve. Students, starve means to die with hunger. Answer. Simple sentence. You must do something to avoid starvation. Students, you can see here that we have removed or from question and we have added to in the answer. Example 2. compound sentence. Walk carefully, otherwise you will fall down. Answer. Simple sentence. Walk carefully to avoid falling down. Students, here you can see that we have removed otherwise and we have added to in the answer. Rule 5. To transform sentences from compound sentences into complex sentences. Example 1. Compound sentence. You are not an honest boy and I can prove it. Answer. Complex sentence. I can prove it that you are not an honest boy. Students, here you can see that while changing sentence from compound sentence into complex sentence, we have used that as a conjunction. Example 2. Compound sentence. Work hard and you will pass. Answer. Complex sentence. If you work hard, you will pass. Here we have transformed sentence from compound sentence into complex sentence by using if. Rule 6. To transform sentences from complex sentences into compound sentences. Example 1. Complex sentence. If you do not control your son, he will ruin his career. Ruin means to destroy. Answer. Compound sentence. Control your son or he will ruin his career. Students, we have transformed this sentence by using or and removing if. Example 2. Complex sentence. He has stolen my watch, so the police has arrested him. Answer. Compound sentence. The police has arrested him because he has stolen my watch. Students, here you can see that we have transformed this sentence by adding because and by removing so. Chapter 6. To transform sentences by using active voice and passive voice. A. The definition of active voice. Active voice tells us what a person or thing does. The subject performs action on the object in active voice. Example 1. Ramesh painted the house. Here, Ramesh is subject, painted is action, and the house is object. Example 2. Rajesh played football. Here, Rajesh is subject, played is action, and football is object. Here, Rajesh is performing action on the football. B. The definition of passive voice. Passive voice tells us what is done to someone or something. The object is acted upon in passive voice. Example 1. The house was painted by Ramesh. Here, the house is object, painted is action, and Ramesh is subject. Here, the house is being acted upon. Example 2. Football was played by Rajesh. Here, football is object, played is action, and Rajesh is subject. Here, football is being acted upon. Students, we can also describe action as verb in both the examples. Note, in active voice and in passive voice, we change subject into object and object into subject. To transform sentences from active voice into passive voice of present indefinite tense. When we transform sentences from active voice into passive voice of present indefinite tense, we follow this rule. Rule 1. First of all, object, then is or am or are, then V3, then by, then subject. Here V3 means the third form of verb. If the object is singular, we shall use is. If the object is plural, we shall use are. If the object is I, we shall use am. Note 2. We do not change any tense in active voice and in passive voice. Example: the cat kills the mouse. Answer: the mouse is killed by the cat. Rule 2. If the sentence is negative, we shall use not after helping verb. Rest rule is same. R2. First of all, object, then is or am or are, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: this cat does not kill the birds. Answer: the birds are not killed by this cat. For interrogative sentences, follow this rule. R3. First of all, we shall use is or am or are, then object, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: does Priyanka wash my clothes? Answer: are my clothes washed by Priyanka? Rule 4. For interrogative including negative sentences, follow this rule. R4. First of all, is or am or are, then object, then not, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: does he not help the poor? Answer: are the poor not helped by him? Rule 5. If the sentence is starting from what, when, why, where, how, etc., we shall use the same interrogative word which has been given to us. Follow this rule. R5. First of all, same interrogative word, then is or am or are, then object, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: how does the carpenter make tables? Answer: how are tables made by the carpenter? Rule 6. For negative sentences, follow this rule. R6. First of all, same interrogative word, then is or am or are, then object, then not, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: why does Supriya not invite me? Answer: why am I not invited by Supriya? To transform sentences by using passive voice of past indefinite tense. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, object, then was or were, then V3, then by, then subject. Students, if the object is singular, we shall use was. If the object is plural, we shall use were. Example 1. She managed the house. Answer: the house was managed by her. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, we shall take object, then was or were, then not, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: Pankaj did not throw the ball. Answer: the ball was not thrown by Pankaj. Note down this rule for interrogative sentences. R3. First of all, was or were, then object, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: did cows eat grass yesterday? Answer: was grass eaten by cows yesterday? Rule 4. Note down this rule for interrogative including negative sentences. R4. First of all, was or were, then object, then not, then V3, then by, and then subject. Example: did he not water the plants? Answer: were the plants not watered by him? Rule 5. Note down this rule for interrogative sentences which are starting from what, when, where, etc. are 5. Same interrogative word, then was or were, then object, then V3, then by, then subject. Here V3 means the third form of verb. Example: when did he use this pen? Answer: when was this pen used by him? Rule 6. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R6. First of all, same interrogative word, then was or were, then object, then not, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: why did these boys not respect the teachers? Answer: why were the teachers not respected by these boys? Note: in this way, you can make the passive voice of upcoming tenses to transform sentences with the help of passive voice of future indefinite tense. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, object, then will be or shall be, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: you will catch the first bus. Answer: the first bus will be caught by you. Students, if the object is I or we shall use shall be, and with rest of all other objects, we shall use will be. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then will or shall, then not, then be, then V3, then by, and then subject. Example: she will not waste your time. Answer: your time will not be wasted by her. To transform sentences with the help of passive voice of present continuous tense. Rule 1. First of all, object, then is or am or are, then being, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: she is sweeping the rooms. Answer: the rooms are being swept by her. Students, if the object is singular, we shall use is, and if the object is plural, we shall use are, and if the object is I, we shall use am. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then is or am or are, then not, then being, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: I am not telling a lie. Answer: a lie is not being told by me. To transform sentences with the help of passive voice of past continuous tense. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentence. R1. First of all, object, then was or were, then being, then V3, then by, then subject. Students, if the object is singular, we shall use was, and if the object is plural, we shall use were. Example: I was reading the Ramayana. Answer: the Ramayana was being read by me. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then was or were, then not, then being, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: Praveen was not beating the boys. Answer: the boys were not being beaten by Praveen. Note: there is no transformation with the help of passive voice of future continuous tense, present perfect continuous tense, past perfect continuous tense, and future perfect continuous tense, as there are no passive voice of these tenses. To transform sentences with the help of passive voice of present perfect tense. Rule 1. First of all, object, then has been or have been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: Amit has taken tea in the morning. Answer: tea has been taken by Amit in the morning. Students, if the object is singular, we shall use has been, and if the object is plural, we shall use have been. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all object, then has or have, then not, then been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: You have not won this prize. Answer: This prize has not been won by you. To transform sentences with the help of passive voice of past perfect tense. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, object, then had been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: Samir had sold that car. Answer: That car had been sold by Samir. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then had, then not, then been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: She had not spoken English. Answer: English had not been spoken by her. To transform sentences with the help of passive voice of future perfect tense. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, object, then will have been or shall have been, then V3, then by, and then subject. Students, if the object is I or we shall use shall have been, and with rest of all other objects we shall use will have been. Example: He will have solved all the sums. Answer: All the sums will have been solved by him. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then will or shall, then not, then have been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: They will not have noticed us. Answer: We shall not have been noticed by them. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then will or shall, then not, then have been, then V3, then by, then subject. Example: They will not have noticed us. Answer: We shall not have been noticed by them. Interesting trick to transform sentences by using passive voice of the following modals. The rules of transformation for modals of can, could, should, must, may, and might are just the same. Rule 1. Note down this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, object, then can, or could, or should, or must, or may, or might, then be, then V3, then by, and then subject. Example 1. You can win this race. Answer: This race can be won by you. Example 2. You could win this race. Answer: This race could be won by you. Example 3. You should win this race. Answer: This race should be won by you. Example 4. You must win this race. Answer: This race must be won by you. Example 5. You may win this race. Answer: This race may be won by you. Example 6. You might win this race. Answer: This race might be won by you. Rule 2. Note down this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, object, then can, or could, or should, or must, or may, or might, then not, then be, then V3, then subject. Example 1. You cannot win this race. Answer: This race cannot be won by you. Example 2. You could not win this race. Answer: This race could not be won by you. Example 3. You should not tell a lie. Answer. A lie should not be told by you. Example 4. You must not tell a lie. Answer. A lie must not be told by you. 5. She may not catch that train easily. Answer. That train may not be caught by her easily. Example 6. Manoj might not defeat Pankaj. Answer. Pankaj might not be defeated by Manoj. To transform sentences by the passive voice of imperative mood. Note, imperative sentences start with the first form of verb. Rule 1. Follow this rule for positive sentences. R1. First of all, let, then object, then be, then we3, then by, then you. Example, do your work. Answer, let your work be done by you. 2. Follow this rule for negative sentences. R2. First of all, let, then object, then not, then be, then we3, then by, then you. Note, we remove do not in this process. Example, do not write a book now. Answer, let a book not be written by you now. Rule 3. Follow this rule for sense of order. R3. First of all, you are ordered, then to, then given sentence. Example, arrest these robbers. Answer, you are ordered to arrest these robbers. Rule 4. Follow this rule for negative sentences. First of all, you are ordered, then not, then to, then given sentence. Example, do not make a noise. Answer, you are ordered not to make a noise. Rule 5. Follow this rule for sense of advice. R5. First of all, you are advised, then to, then given sentence. Example, obey your parents. Answer, you are advised to obey your parents. R6. Follow this rule for negative sentences. R6. First of all, you are advised, then not, then to, then given sentence. Note, we remove do not in this process. Example, do not disobey teachers. Answer, you are advised not to disobey teachers. Rule 7. Follow this rule for sense of request. R7. First of all, you are requested, then to, then given sentence. Note, we remove please and kindly in this process. Please help me now. Answer, you are requested to help me now. Rule 8. Follow this rule for negative sentences. R8. First of all, you are requested, then not, then to, then given sentence. Note, we remove do not, please, and kindly in this process. Example, kindly do not beat him. Answer, you are requested not to beat him. To transform sentences by the passive voice of who. Follow this rule here. First of all, by whom, then object, then was or were, then we3. Note 1. We remove who in this process. Note 2. Use was with singular object and use were for plural object. Example, who wrote this book? Answer, by whom was this book written? Students, you have to complete this homework. Transform the following sentences as directed against each. Number 1. The sun rose and the fog disappeared. Complex sentence. Number 2. I am sure of his success. Complex sentence. Number 3. Pay the money or return the book. Simple sentence. Number 4. Save water and forest. Passive voice. Number 5. Come here. Passive voice. Students, I want to say at last that you are the pillars of nation, so study deeply. Goodbye and take care.